Yo, welcome back to the GM Podcast. I'm Miller.
I'm Gab.
And today, we will be talking about a lot of things, but obviously we are nearing the end of the 2025 NFL regular season, so we will be talking about some things. And first thing I want to start on, and obviously like, comment, subscribe before we get started, but your Ravens. All right, you're Ravens, and I know you're not as prideful as obviously you're a Celtics fan. You're much more prideful than them.
I'm a Tar Heels fan. Number 12 in the country, man. One loss going into Christmas break, man. Let's do it.
Absolutely. But your NFL team is the Ravens,
sadly,
and they're falling off right now. Still alive somehow in this horrible division. But what I really want to know is,
not really alive.
Not really.
Yeah, not really alive.
But speaking of you guys like not making the playoffs, let's put ourselves in that scenario.
Right. We won't.
What do you think you guys should do in this offseason, and how drastic would the changes be in your opinion?
I'm interested to see what we do at the defensive coordinator spot.
Yeah.
Because we suck at the beginning of the year 2 years in a row now, and towards the end we do get better and get nice, but it's like
you're throwing away games at the beginning, just like we talk about with the Bengals.
100%. I'm interested to see what we do with Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
And while Lamar, you could say with his style of play, it's not like Tom Brady or even Patrick Mahomes has a crazy arm, or even though Mahomes is athletic, like it's not. Athleticism plays a lot into his. He's a great passer. Yeah. But athleticism is his separator. Yes. So I would say he's on the back end of his prime just by the normal, like that's just, and you see it with injuries, a lot of injuries. The reason we didn't make the playoffs, if Lamar's healthy, we make the playoffs. Yeah. So, and I think, with a healthy Lamar, we have a shot. Lamar hasn't been the same since his hamstring injury. He's basically just been playing. Yeah. Because him at 50% is still better than Huntley. Yeah, very true. But it's not an elite quarterback, to be honest. Honestly, he's not been playing like a top 10 quarterback because he hasn't when he's not healthy. I hate to say this, and this kind of reminds me, even though this is a more accomplished coach, this kind of reminds me of Brad Stevens. Yeah. For my Celtics. Yeah. You can't really say like, oh, he's a bad coach. Yeah. It's more of like we might just need a new voice. Yeah. And I think that's where we might need to go. I think Harbaugh might need to leave. And it's going to suck because if Harbaugh goes... So would you be okay with him staying in the organization? Oh, my goodness, yes. Yeah. Okay. Oh, my goodness, yes. Okay. But I don't think... Like he loves their family, just loves the coach. I feel like they could. I feel like that organization could keep Harbaugh around as like an overseer or a general manager almost. No. I think they could, but I'm saying I don't know if Harbaugh wants to do that. That's true. Very true. They just love to coach. Yeah. It's all they talk about. Yes. I love to coach football. I'm gonna die coaching football. Absolutely. And I just see a lot of teams that Harbaugh. I mean, if you put Harbaugh on the Falcons, they'd win that division. There's a lot of absolutely. There's just a lot of teams that need a coach. Yeah. That have players and have talent. So I think we might have to get rid of Harbaugh, and it's gonna suck because, like I said, I'm gonna probably watch him go take another team to the playoffs. Absolutely, year after year after year after year. Yeah, but I just feel like we need a new voice. I don't know if it's a defensive guy. I don't know if it's Salah. I really don't know who it is. Yeah, but I think usually this is how this goes. Coach goes before Lamar. Yeah, yeah. And if it don't work again, then it goes on Lamar. But for the first time, usually the coach gets the blame first. And I do think he might be catching a bit of a stray because time and time again, Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, our playmakers, they sell with like a fumble, a drop pass. Yes. Like it's becoming to the point. At first, I thought it was Lamar not being clutch. And that's like just a part of it now. Yeah. That's not even the full. That's not even 25% of it. Our playmakers, like, bro, Mark Andrews needs to be investigated by that. That was lateral, crazy. That lateral. That wouldn't even make sense, the lateral. No. The scenario didn't give. I don't know. That was the dumbest, and he's lucky he got away with that. He's lucky they got the rough in the passer. All and they said he threw it forward, so they just. Yeah, but I think if he threw it forward and they recovered it, if there's no rough in the passer, they can still accept that. They can still decline the penalty. Yeah. So, and that's where I low-key want to start here. For me, when I look at this Ravens organization, I kind of think nuke the entire thing. Yeah. I think the only person you really look at keeping 100% is actually Kyle Hamilton. One of the
premier defensive players in this league.
Yeah.
He even have his injury problems. But other than that, you're looking at Derrick Henry, who's still serviceable, but he's obviously nearing the end of his prime.
Yeah.
You look at a guy like Zay Flowers, who time and time again, no matter the production, whether it's a drop pass, a fumble, when the game is literally on the line, no fumbles in the first half, when the game is literally on the line, he will choke it up.
And I just, honestly, not to interrupt you, but
keep going.
I think Zay Flowers is just number 2.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
But DeAndre Hopkins being as old as he is, Rashad Bateman never really living up to the first round, second round draft pick he was. Go ahead and nuke the entire thing. You know, at this point, this is a business. And what these players are, yes, they are people, but they are also assets. So I would say your opportunity to win a Super Bowl, the highest it's ever been, has already passed. So my thing is, why not get ahead of that? And yes, in my opinion, I already think Harbaugh should be fired, like you said, or not fired, maybe mutually agree to part ways. But that includes shopping Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and obviously, if you can go into next season with Lamar Jackson, you obviously think he'll bounce back from this year.
Yeah.
You don't think this year is the normal. But you do also, once again.
But it's health issues the normal.
There's health issues now. And if you can get in front of it, and there are teams that need quarterbacks. You talk about the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
They'll be calling Cincinnati and Baltimore this offseason saying, hey, is there anything y'all will give up? Anything, right? So that's what I think of when I look at this organization. Is Lamar even set in place? Because I look at the injury that happened Sunday night, and I don't want to be the guy who's like, bro, you're not even hurt. I don't want to be that guy. And it was a back contusion, and I believe that he was hurt to a point where he couldn't play.
But it's like an Anthony Davis type of thing.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, we know you're hurt, but dang, he got hurt there.
Like, you just got a back contusion and you're done?
Yeah.
For this game?
Yeah.
For this game, when your playoff chances are little, you have to win pretty much out to get to where y'all, and they should have won anyway, obviously. But you have to win out to make the playoffs in a year where Mahomes isn't in it, and you're just hurt. Yeah. So those are the things I think about with this organization at this point. And obviously, once again, if you can keep Lamar Jackson going into next year, that would be ideal because you bet on him still being the player that he's been for the past half decade or more.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be 100% on keeping him at this point. And honestly, when the Joe Burrow news came out, I thought there was going to be a situation where if Jalen Hurts didn't finish out this season all the way strong enough and we collapsed and the Cowboys somehow got in, that there was going to be a lot of talk on, hey, is Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts that trade? Would that be a possibility? So it's not like I'm saying Lamar Jackson is not a great quarterback. Right. I still think he's a top 5 quarterback. But some quarterbacks have flaws, especially as they get older, to where you do have to consider it is a business and, could this guy be available in the offseason? So those are the things I think about, and I do think the Ravens will end up missing. I think the DK Metcalf suspension, though, is bigger than people think about.
Yeah. He's missing out on $45 million.
Yeah, he's missing out on that much. But is it just a sure thing that the Steelers are going to beat the Browns? I sure wouldn't bet on it this week.
Yeah, I would. I think they will.
Me too.
But
it's a divisional game in the AFC North late season. I think it is in Cleveland. I could be wrong on that.
I mean, Lamar is going to miss practice again tomorrow. I think I just read he might have came back too early.
Yeah,
he might have, but I don't know.
I don't know, bro. Something is weird going on, and that's why I say just nuke the whole organization because I don't see what's going on. I think
it might be like one of those situations where when you get off a lot of players, like it could be a win-win for both organizations.
Exactly.
And the problem is I don't see any quarterback in the draft.
I don't.
And
unfortunately,
you don't want to give up Lamar Jackson without getting a quarterback that is at least
without a plan. I mean, you have Tyler Huntley, who has looked good this year, serviceable in Lamar Jackson's plays, but
we know that's not. Yeah.
All right. So now we're going to do something fun.
Okay.
All right. We're going to do a Who Do You Trust quarterback edition for all the playoff teams. So we will do a snake draft for the 14 teams in the playoffs right now. Sorry, Baker. Sorry, Lamar. You're not involved in this draft. We're going to go through all the 14 playoff teams right now and draft who we trust more at the quarterback position. All right. So first off, let's go ahead.
This is playoff picture?
This is the playoff picture right now.
Okay, I'm pulling it up.
Yeah. So we got, you'll figure that out. All right. First thing that we have to do is obviously our rock, paper, scissors.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Wait, rock, bam.
Okay. Wait, are we doing best of 3? Are we doing best of 3?
Yeah, just the best of 3. Just the best of 3. All right. Oh, we're doing rock, bam.
Rock, bam.
Sorry, guys. Rock, bam. All right, you got it. First, do you want the first pick or do you want to pass it to me?
I'm going to give it to you.
All right. Well,
because Mahomes is not in it.
I know. So the first pick is actually very easy to me. Unfortunately, I'm probably not going to get my guy. I might. But I'm going to go with Josh Allen for my first pick. I feel like that's just the natural thing to do. This is the guy's most gifted quarterback in the playoffs this year. I think he has been the reason why the Bills are as good as they are. And, yeah, he hasn't played bad in the playoffs so far. So I obviously trust this guy as the number one quarterback in this playoff picture. Okay. So now you got 2 straight picks.
I love this.
Who do you want here?
I love this. First, I'm going to get me Matt Stafford.
Okay, well that would have been one of those 2 picks that I would have had as well.
Give me Matt Stafford. Probably going to win the MVP.
Yeah.
I am sticking with what I said. I know I didn't come up with this on my own. I saw it 3 years ago or whenever they won the Super Bowl. But I genuinely do believe that if he would have been in a not even great situation, a good situation his whole career, above average, that he would be looked at as better than Aaron Rodgers.
Hey, and if he wins a Super Bowl
this year,
that's absolutely going to
he
start
has more
becoming
Super Bowls than him.
Yeah, he'll have more. So it's not really a lot you could say.
Yeah.
That's amazing to even think about.
Exactly. So. And he just passed him on the back end.
Yeah.
Imagine if a whole career he got a solid team.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I would say that. And then my second one, I'm going to go with, I'm staying in the NFC. I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts.
All right, dang. Well, you got my guy.
I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts, no matter how bad he's looked. I have 0 evidence of any other of these guys.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I don't have any good evidence.
Yeah.
I don't have any good evidence of any of these guys other than, unless you want to say Brock Purdy, but once again, he just doesn't have,
the tool,
the evidence.
The
evidence that Jalen Hurts has.
Absolutely.
But I guess Brock Purdy would be closest on the list left. But
I'm gonna be honest. I think those top 3 picks that we just made should be the universal top 3 of the quarterbacks that people trust most in this playoff picture.
Yeah.
And I think now is where it gets pretty fun. All right. So with my next pick, I am going to go with Drake May. All right. And this is a different one because I believe first off, he hasn't played in the playoffs yet. So
Charlotte kid.
Charlotte kid. Exactly. Myers Park. So we don't know how he's going to look. Obviously, there are players that we think are amazing in the regular season. They get in their first playoff game.
But he
looks horrible. That's my point.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like when you watch Drake May play football, it is even kill the entire time. There's no up, no down. He is just going to make throws. And I didn't think he played amazing in the Ravens game, but I thought he made the plays that needed to be made to win the game. And with this roster right now, Stephon Diggs, who is still one of the best receivers in football, I've been telling you this for a long time. I have to see the drop-off. And there has been obviously a statistical and a production drop-off.
He's clutch.
But he's still the guy.
And he's big. Right? He big game performer.
Absolutely. Big game performer. I think he's still, for a playoff stretch, he can still be a number 1 receiver in this league. I absolutely believe that. Yeah. And with the Patriots playing the way they are right now.
And the way they're running the ball. I mean, Henderson has a lot of these explosive runs. I mean, if you could just ask him to break 1 a game in the playoffs, that's huge, and especially the way their defense is playing.
That'll help Drake out. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And my next pick, and this is actually for me where it gets very, very, very difficult.
Okay.
There are actually 3 quarterbacks I have in mind right here, but I'm going to go with one that I'm very biased about.
Okay.
And we're going to go with a 7th seed in the AFC right now.
Oh.
I'm taking C.J. Stroud.
Yeah?
All right. C.J. Stroud as an individual has won 2 playoff games in the last 2 years. All right. He's surrounded by the best defense, obviously, that he's had in his career, and he's had some great defenses. He has Nico Collins. That connection is great. Jaden Higgins coming along, being a great receiver. His receiving core is coming along a little bit. They just had a horrible game against the Raiders where they lost me fantasy, and Ashton Jensen went for 40 fantasy points. All right, but that's out of the let's just forget about that,
catching
guys.
A fade.
Yep. Woody Marks coming back will be big for them as their running back. So, yeah, give me C.J. Stroud. I trust my boy C.J.
And that's your second one, right? It's my turn?
Absolutely, yeah. That's my second one.
and I'm glad this guy fell to me. And this is the guy I think you might be surprised about, but give me Trevor Lawrence.
Wow, that's high.
Give me Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
This is he's a testimony. Drake May as well. Getting Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
Same guy who coached Brady.
Yeah.
Like, to your situation matters.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Had Liam Cohen last year.
Yeah.
We see how Baker Mayfield not looking as good this year.
Absolutely.
We see how Trevor Lawrence looks this year. The last 4 games, team points per game, 36, second in the NFL. Total yards per game, 300 yards a game, 6th in the NFL. Yards per pass for Trevor Lawrence, 8.7, second. Touchdown to turnover ratio, 14-0, first in the NFL.
Crazy.
Passer rating, 120.8, first. The last 4 games of the season, you could say he's been the best quarterback in the NFL the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And I think Liam Cohen gets a lot of credit. And because of Liam Cohen, that is why I'm trusting Trevor Lawrence a lot. And this is kind of why you look at him like, okay, yeah, that's a guy you draft first.
Yeah,
and he's been playing.
True. I do agree with that.
And he's been playing elite. And I like this Jaguars team. It's not an elite defense from the standpoint of stops, but they make plays.
Yes.
They make plays. They get a big turnover. I've seen in the Kansas City game earlier this year.
Yeah.
I've seen it all year long. They make big plays. And I wish Travis Hunter would be a part of it.
Yeah.
I really wish he could be.
Is he done for the year officially?
I don't know.
Or I thought he was just on IR for like
if he can come back for playoffs,
I want him to. I really want him to.
And I look, he wanted him to come back for playoffs just to play defense.
And the crazy thing,
because their
I was about to say that exactly.
Jacoby Myers.
Yes. Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington.
Yes.
Looks like the second coming of Wes Welker.
It's becoming more committee, and any week, as he hasn't been dominant this year, any week Brian Thomas could go off and be a huge receiver. And, you know, obviously he's going to get the number 1 receiver, so Tan's just going to take him out like last week. But those other guys are cooking whenever that happens. So.
I mean, I wonder, you look at Travis Hunter in the AFC. If he can just get to a point where he's focusing on defense, they got him in the defensive room right now, and he can go into games against the Chargers and lock up Quentin Johnston. Go into games against the Bills where, well, they don't have a great receiver. Go into games against the Patriots where he's going against Stephon Diggs, similar body types.
Whole game.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. So I don't mind that pick, actually.
Yeah.
And then who's your next?
I'm loving what I'm seeing from him. And with my next pick, this is tough for me. This is very tough for me. I'm stuck between 2 guys.
You know, Trevor Lawrence would have fell a little bit for me, but I don't mind that pick, actually.
Yeah. For me personally, this is where it gets tough.
I think I know which 2 guys you're thinking about.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to take the next one.
I'm going to have to take Herbert.
All right. Yep, that's what I was thinking.
And I was leaning towards another guy in his conference, but I'm staying with Herbert.
Yeah.
Because I think he's better individually as a talent.
In his conference. You were about to go, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a winner.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Justin Herbert here. Playing with a broken hand. I've seen performance this past week against Dallas. I know their defense sucks, but, I mean, he put up points.
Yeah.
He looked good. And another one of those, I mean, Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Harbaugh helps a lot here.
Yeah.
On why I trust Justin Herbert as well. And I just think Justin Herbert, as much as I have hated on him, and maybe I fell into the trap. Maybe I should have stayed on the side I've been his entire career. But something does feel different, and I think he'll win a playoff game. I think his playoff performances have been a little over-criticized, I would say, based off the fact that he did get off to a 28-0 run in his first playoff game. And then last year, I just think his skill players weren't great enough to win that game. And he didn't help it. I'm not saying he helped anything at all. But I don't mind him falling to where he did because he just hasn't performed. So that'll be all right. And then my next pick, pretty easy for me. I'm going with Brock Purdy here. I've actually, and he's just coming off a 5-touchdown game where he looked like Joe Montana. But I have seen what this guy can do in the playoffs. And it's been special in my opinion. And it's not the fact that throughout games he's just a gamer, he's playing great all game. But in the second half of a lot of these playoff games, he has came through in the biggest moments and made throw after throw after throw. And let's remember, this is still a young quarterback. He is still developing, and he's getting more healthy. This offense of San Francisco, in my opinion, looks like a top 3 offense in football, maybe the last half of the season. Yeah. When you got guys like Juwan Jennings, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, they somehow find a way every year to be stacked in situations where you don't expect them to be stacked. So I'm going to go with Brock Purdy. I do trust him, and they control their destiny for the 1 seed. Yeah. So if they're playing in San Fran
week after week after week in the playoffs, and you have to go against that offense, I don't see a team they can't beat. But next, I am going to go, and this honestly pains me, and I'm struggling a little bit here too.
Are you flipping sides from the way you were talking preseason?
You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, okay.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going with Aaron Rodgers. And the way I was talking preseason, I know what you were going to say.
Yeah.
But a lot of the quarterbacks that we have left on the board.
We were talking preseason.
Absolutely, yeah. And they're still young quarterbacks. And when I look at Aaron Rodgers and the momentum he's built in the latter half of this season, he is finding guys so quick and so efficiently. It looks like he has it. This win against the Lions, I feel like, is the best Steelers win in like 5 years. Because it feels like going into the playoffs, they at least have now I wouldn't pick them to win a game, but they have a chance to win a game, right? And that may just be me, but they have that slight chance with Aaron Rodgers, Kenneth Gainwell, Jalen Warren.
I think DK Metcalf's come back for
he will be back for the first playoff game. And then you look at, I was looking at their who he was throwing the ball to the other day, and Adam Thielen, Scotty Miller, guys that are just the smartest guys you could put around
Scantling.
Valdez-Scantling.
He's got rapport with him.
Just some vets. So they're not going to win 2 playoff games this year.
No, not 2.
But for A-Rod to play a great playoff game, I'm not putting that past them in Pittsburgh, especially if they win. Obviously, winning their division is how they would have to get in. So I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers, and I think we have 3 more QBs left here.
No, we have more. You said 7 each, right?
Yeah, we have Bo Nix left, Caleb Williams left,
Sam Darnold
left, and Jordan Love and Caleb Williams. So you're right. All right.
And Bryce Young.
Yeah, and Bryce Young. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So you get 2.
Yeah.
This is kind of tough. I don't know where I would go here.
I don't know either. And I think, kind of like I said with Herbert, this is a guy who's won playoff games, so it's a little different than Herbert.
Yeah.
But I do think this could be a year. No, could have been the year if his team was healthy that he would get over the hump. Give me Jordan Love.
Yeah, I agree.
Give me Jordan Love here. I do think genuinely they would be a Super Bowl contender, and I might pick them if they had Kraft and Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
But they don't. I mean, that's a top 5 tight end in the league, arguably, when healthy.
Yeah.
And that is the best pass rusher in the league other than Myles Garrett.
Absolutely.
And even on any given day, he could be just as good as him.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I'm going to have to go with my first one.
And by the way, just on Jordan Love real quick, he has played absolutely horrible in his play. I think Jordan Love has played worse than Justin Herbert in his playoff games. But like
not
you said,
statistically, but
but like you said, I just think the talent is a little bit too high to pass on him at this point in our draft. So yeah, I would agree with the Jordan Love pick there.
Yeah, and then second,
yeah, bro, I'm lost at this point. You're going to have to take a big swing. I know who you want to take.
Yeah. And for some odd reason, my gut's telling me not to take him. Give me Sam Darnold.
I thought I wanted to steal that from you. Okay.
Give me Sam Darnold.
Elaborate.
Back-to-back years, he's been right there for the 1 seed.
Yeah.
2 different organizations.
Yeah.
Because of all of that evidence, I do feel like, and he might still suck this year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But there will be a point in his career if he keeps playing how he's playing and he keeps putting teams at the top of the playoffs and having elite runs. Because even Peyton Manning kept having great regular seasons and eventually, got through for him.
Yeah.
I do think that he will have a playoff run. I don't know if it's a Super Bowl. He might just play in a conference championship. I don't know if he's a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. But towards the back end of this draft, I am going to have to go with him getting back-to-back 1 seeds. I think that's pretty impressive, so I'm going to go with him.
And I would agree with that because, first off, I think the Rams game was so big for him.
Yeah.
And obviously, he didn't play great. When he threw when he threw the pick to the D tackle, I was like, it's actually almost comedic how this guy gets in a big game and just chokes.
Yeah.
But he wasn't part of the comeback, obviously. Well, obviously, he had to leave one drive. But the throws he made in overtime were nothing short of spectacular. The throw to Cooper Kupp on the sideline, that's a top 10 throw of the year, regardless of any quarterback, regardless of college football, NFL. That is a high-level football throw. And he looked comfortable in that situation. And like you said, he has his team in 2 straight 1-seed situations this late into the year. And I would bet on him right now over these last couple of guys to get stuff done. And with my last 2 picks.
Is this just it? You get the last 2?
Yeah, I get the last 2 and then you get 1.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to go with Bo and Caleb.
Okay.
So I'll leave you with Bryce. And
I want to talk about that when you're done.
Okay. And Bo and Caleb, since I took them both, and I kind of feel the same way about them, yeah, they're winners. I'll give that to them. Yeah. They're winners. All right. I'm still not as high on Caleb or Bo as the majority of people are.
I would just say Bo, the comebacks.
They're immaculate, and I think they're both very clutch late game guys that maybe. But right now, I think from a down perspective, guys that will be locked in making throws from the start of the first quarter, when the margins are smaller in the playoffs, to the end of the fourth quarter, who can dice defenses up on a consistent basis and win games. And honestly, I've seen more promise throwing the football from the guy that I just left you in late game situations, or not late game situations, but full game situations than I have from Caleb or Bo. Yeah. So, but once again, the Bears are the 2 seed, the Broncos are the 1 seed at this point. I'm gonna go with these winning teams, and Caleb on one side, he's made some throws. The throw to DJ Moore, that's an iconic moment. Yeah. So I think he has a little more arm talent. If I was to draft one first, I would draft Caleb then Bo. But yeah, that's how I'm gonna
go. And the reason I want to talk about this is my initial statement before this take. This is going to be this could be the best playoffs of my lifetime.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And the reason I say that is we don't know anything. There's no favorite. There's no they're going to win. They're going to. The team that we've seen a lot, the Bills, they don't look good. They just have Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Like
they look the worst they've looked with Josh Allen.
Yeah. So there's going to be a quarterback. Assuming the Eagles don't win, I don't think they will.
Yeah.
That leaps tremendously on how we look at them.
Yes.
Bo Nix, the winner stuff is just confirmed.
Yeah.
Like, the numbers go out. Like, forget the numbers. Like, he's a Super Bowl winning.
Look at that as Jalen Hurts right now.
Yeah. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, in year 3?
Absolutely.
4?
Yeah.
Like, with Sean Payton. So,
this is 2nd year.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
2nd year. That's what second year. So, and I think me getting Bryce Young with the last pick just shows that anyone can win in this playoffs, other than I think maybe, like, anyone can win a game.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because Bryce Young, I just got him last on quarterbacks we trust. He's the youngest player to have, like, the most game-winning drives
I did see that
in NFL history.
Yeah.
And if he does make the playoffs, he essentially would have already won a playoff game.
Against the Bucks, is that what you? And that is very true.
And that's crazy. This is, we couldn't really draft wrong here.
No, I don't think so either. And Bryce falling last. I'm gonna be honest.
This is gonna be a great playoff.
I think it's a respect thing, and I think you would have did the same thing picking Bo over Bryce.
Yeah.
But Bryce, there are some things that we've seen. Obviously, it's so streaky. But there are some things that Bryce puts on tape. Those are qualities of a winning quarterback.
I thought he was going to beat y'all late game last year against the Eagles.
Yes.
I thought he was walking y'all down.
He's put so much, the escapability, the pocket presence for a short quarterback is something I've never seen, to be quite honest. The anticipatory throws, he's a special quarterback in my opinion, if he can put it all together with Dave Canales.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I think that was a solid draft right there. Yeah. Y'all let us know who has the better quarterbacks on their squad.
Yeah. I would also like to apologize. This is completely off topic. This has nothing to do with the NFL.
Go ahead.
I would like to apologize to you guys for even bringing up a topic with the Oklahoma City Thunder and the 73-9 Warriors that we compared them.
Bro, what?
They just lost by 20 to the Spurs.
Did they really just lose?
They just lost by 20. Just got wiped off the floor.
They were away.
This is back-to-back losses against the Spurs.
They were away.
Yeah, they were away. Christmas Day just became weirdly a regular season must-win. Like, I don't know, like it just looks bad to go 0-3 against them on the season.
I agree that the Thunder on Christmas it's a must-win, but you know what else it is for me? A lock.
Yeah, no, it's
a lock W. All right, we only have 4 L's. bro, don't apologize to these people for bringing up a valid argument.
How many games have we played? 30?
No, not they're about 30. To be, I think they're about. They could be if that was their fourth loss, they'll be 23-4, I believe, or 23. They
lost again.
24-4. Yeah, they lost the other night too. So 24-4 after Christmas is what I'm thinking, and that's solid. You know, obviously that's not the pace you would like to uphold, and I do think some more losses are coming along the way. But you know, the Thunder team's dominance looks different than that Warriors team's dominance. It doesn't look as visually appealing. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
All right? No one thinks that.
I just think
you are watching Curry and Clay splash threes. You can't really get much better than that as far as viewership experience.
That was a time to be alive. 26.
And I was actually with my homeboy yesterday, Jordan.
Yeah.
And he was telling me, and it's a frequent thing that's happening to me now.
Yeah.
Around all my friends when I start talking about basketball. Man, I hate the Thunder. That's a thing now.
It is.
There's been teams where, you obviously hate on. I try to think of a football team where it's the Patriots, but they were obviously dominant. But the Thunder at this point are a hated on team, and they haven't been great that long.
I think it's not even the Thunder's fault. I think sometimes we as NBA fans and sports fans, we jump too far.
Yeah.
And we don't just live in the moment.
Yeah.
We have already said, OKC 3P, they literally might only get one title. I'm not saying that they won't get it. I think they will get another title. But in today's NBA, the way Adam Silver has changed the rules, literally, of salary cap, second apron, luxury tax, the way he has changed all of these rules, you I don't know if we'll see a dynasty. A dynasty might be winning 3 out of 6 years or something. I don't know.
I mean, let's remember that 73-9 team lost.
Yeah.
So there's no promise. This team does look dominant right now, but you just look at the talent across the league objectively.
Yeah.
You look at the Houston Rockets. You look at the Denver Nuggets. You look at the San Antonio Spurs at this point, who have beat us twice.
Yeah.
Nothing is guaranteed.
Yeah.
Nothing is guaranteed.
And I think it used to be who's your top 3 guys and really who's your best player. Yeah. That's who's going to win the series.
Absolutely.
My criteria for about a decade was who has the best player.
Where's LeBron at?
Where's LeBron at? I'm picking him.
Yeah.
Kawhi's the best player in the series? Give me Kawhi.
Yeah.
Whoever Giannis, the best KD, whoever it was, give me the best player. Giannis over, While it's different now. The way you have to build rosters, and you can't just build a big 3 because literally everyone else will suck on your roster.
Yeah.
It's better to have one guy. I mean, Halliburton being a guy, that wasn't possible 5 to 10 years ago. In an NBA Finals. The way you have to build your roster now, you do want depth.
Yeah.
And the Spurs have something going kind of like the Pacers have with 3 guards that I love.
Yeah.
And then you have Wemby, who on any given night you could say, all right, he's the best player.
And I think the main reason for that is straight up basketball players are just getting better.
Yes.
Back 10 years ago, you're fitting into a role of let's say a Boris Diaw, right? Boris Diaw, limited shooter.
Yeah.
I guess he's not the best example because offensively he was pretty gifted.
Yeah.
But, as a 4-man, you're setting screens, getting rebounds, hitting mid-range jump shots in the low post maybe, and that's your role. As a 5-man, you're sitting on the block, waiting in the dunker spot. Now, you have to be effective at every level. Wherever you catch the ball on the court, you have to be able to knock down that shot.
And if you're not a threat as a shooter, you have to be an elite passer, and it really is only at the 5 position.
Absolutely, and that's hard to do in this league. You have to have a full cohesive group of 5 that can work together to where in your offensive rotation, every single touch, not even paint touch, every single touch, there's a threat.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, a team that I would use as an example is last year's Denver Nuggets. You have the best offensive creator in NBA history, but you have guys on your roster, in this case I'll use Michael Porter Jr., who wasn't doing great last year, that just wasn't effective. If Michael Porter Jr. is effective in that series against Oklahoma City last year, they win that series.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
When you have the best offensive creator in NBA history. So, and since we're on NBA, we didn't have this.
Even
since you just threw something in there, I'll throw something in here.
Yeah.
Draymond Green last night. All right. He had to walk out of the game with the Warriors because him and Steve Kerr had a heated argument.
Yeah.
Right? And his words after was, I know myself. I know that if it wasn't going the right way, so I had to remove myself from the court. You know, I don't really know how I want to phrase this question, but there are certain things that I'll just be honest with you guys with Draymond that really do throw me off, right? And there's a difference between that and how good of a basketball player he is.
Yeah.
So what I want to know is, like, overall, legacy-wise, how will you speak about Draymond Green? Will it be first about the winner and the champion and the defender he was, or will it be about, in this last probably 5 years, all the detrimental things he has done to this organization?
I would definitely say the winning, the championships. Okay. I'll say all that because, I mean, even we're aware. I mean, you could argue Rodman was worse, but we don't. Yeah. We talk about Rodman as a rebounder, a champion, the great core piece for that team. Yeah. So I don't think we talk about it like that. But I do think it is fair to say that in this time we knew was come eventually, he's becoming more of a distraction.
Yes.
And
thank you.
A problem at times. And winning cures everything, but you're not winning.
Yeah.
And I do wonder, and I think if Draymond got traded to a winning team, like as in like a contender, that, I don't know, a team that has a defensive identity, or like, honestly, like Spurs have another first round pick next year.
Draymond. Yeah,
Draymond for your first next year.
Yeah.
You know, like Spurs, it makes them like really like
great defensive.
Like I would pick them to win it all. I'm going to be honest. If they got Draymond Green. And that sounds crazy, but like he's the winning piece that's going to help all those young guys.
Yeah.
I mean, him and Wemby, that's, oh my God, you're getting stops. So I would say that, but he's not winning, so it looks like a distraction. And I just think not just Draymond, but like the Warriors need to blow it up. Like I'm talking Steph Curry too.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, you don't have a chance.
No.
Do you see how these young cats are running around out here? That used to be you. That you used to be the young kids running around the court doing that. It's no longer a thing. And Draymond Green specifically, let's get this out the way. For all sports, all levels, everything. Role players should not be talking and moving like star players.
Yeah.
All right, and I've not been the star player.
Yeah.
Right? I say that as a position of when we played with that team right there, being a role player. Yeah. There's no reason that you shouldn't have the humility. I don't care that you have 4 rings to move better than you have in these last couple of years. There's just no reason. The constant getting thrown out of games because your temper got the best of you and you just wanted to throw a haymaker. Yeah. And now we just call it, well, this guy's a spirited competitor. No, you're being a detriment to your team. The punching Jordan Poole after this guy has been tremendous for you in a playoff run. We just looked at that. We brushed that under the, and maybe we didn't brush it under the rug. But these are things that if we're going to bring up all the good at the end of his career, let's bring up all these things to where he talks so crazy, in my opinion. He legitimately talks, and he is a smart basketball player, yes.
He's a genius.
He is a genius IQ basketball player.
Yes.
But that doesn't excuse him from being a hot-headed human being.
Yeah, I would just say, like, his identity, for me, has become a guy who literally can't control his emotions.
That's my point.
And you could argue that he would have 6 championships if it wasn't for his emotions. Because if Kevin Durant stays,
you're winning more. If you don't kick Steven Adams in the nuts, or it wasn't
that. It was getting suspended for game 6 in the NBA Finals.
Yes.
The 73-9 Warriors win the championship.
Absolutely.
Like, no ands, if, buts about it.
No.
So I just named 2 rings right there.
So I mean, that's my point.
This is a guy who, like, we could be talking about, like, no, he has 6 rings.
Yes, and there's no doubt that he helped this team win championships.
Yeah, but they don't win one of those without him. But with the stuff he's done, I could argue he could have won 6.
That's what it is with Draymond. So I think when you get to a point to where his head has been hyped up, you do walk with a little bit more confidence, and that's okay. But humility can never leave the door when you want to be perceived as something, because a lot of these athletes, they're in the limelight, right? And a lot of them act as if they don't care what people think of them.
They do.
Draymond Green absolutely cares what people think of him. That's why he's tried to defend himself. I mean, the quote yesterday.
He has a podcast where he defends himself after playoff games. And yeah.
He said, I felt like the best thing was to remove myself. Bro, sit your ass on the bench and shut up.
And someone who actually doesn't care what people think, or at least way more than Draymond Green, is a guy like Westbrook.
Yes.
Westbrook he could have easily on so many in Westbrook, I don't think people notice this, hasn't been on a podcast.
No.
It
ain't media with him. I'm barking at you on the court.
Yeah.
I'm barking at you as a fan. If you try to come up to me talking that ish, I'm gonna come up to you. And
yeah.
It's
and
different.
Westbrook, he'll have a terrible narrative. He won't address it. He'll just let you run with that narrative.
Exactly.
Westbrook could easily start a podcast, start this, go on, or not start one. He could go on a podcast and talk about certain things. The only thing Westbrook has addressed is calling him out of his name.
I would throw Lamar Jackson in that mix too. Of guys that just and once again, these are star players who get constantly ripped. And this is the thing about that. Those guys know that regardless of what you say about them, they're MVPs.
Yes.
Draymond, you are a world champion, a defensive player of the year. You know who you are. It seems like he's in a constant cycle of trying to get back to a place with almost all of the NBA watchers that love basketball and just be better for you. Not for us, for you. Because, bro, I feel like once again he keeps talking like he keeps trying to make up for things that he did in the past, bro. No, you're digging yourself a deeper hole every time you do something stupid. So that's everything. I'm glad you asked that NBA one because I was looking forward to asking that question. Yeah. Only a couple things left. I'll skip that one. Joe Burrow. All right, and this is the last thing we'll talk about. Last week, comments came out before what game was that? Before the Ravens game.
Yeah.
Where he addressed him not being happy, him not having a lot of fun right now in the organization he is in. And I just kind of want to know your thoughts on how much merit his comments actually had compared to if you think he was maybe out of line making those comments.
I don't know. I do think he was out of line making those comments because as a star quarterback, you're supposed to, and Dak Prescott does great at it. Like, even if there is a distraction, even if there is, like, you're supposed to honestly lie or, you know what I mean? So, honestly, he should have lied, whatever. Like, nah, I'm doing good. I'm fine. We're good. But he needs to get up out of there.
Yeah.
He will become, I don't know, will we look at him like Matt Stafford?
Yeah.
Like is it going to take him to be 35 to get traded and win a Super Bowl? And we're like, dang, like, I wonder what it would have looked like if he
had all that in his whole career.
I genuinely would love to see him go to the Vikings.
Yeah. I would too. I mean,
with Justin Jefferson, another college teammate, Kevin O'Connell, who's a much better coach. I don't know why I'm not hearing. I've heard, like, I don't know why I haven't heard any hot seat from the Bengals coach. Like, look, why have I not heard any hot seat?
Because they're comfortable where they are, and once again, I honestly, first off, I agree with you. Joe Burrow is a problem. This organization, it has not helped him out at all.
No.
Right? So you can't, like, with those points and him talking about the organization, you can do nothing but agree. Yeah. Right? But there's a lack of accountability in certain things when you come to the podium and say things like this, to where it's either I feel like you should have been more direct,
yes,
or you should have just kept your mouth closed. You should have said, I hate this organization.
Trade me.
Get me out of here.
Get me out of here.
But he just danced around it.
Yeah.
And was like, well, I'm just not having fun. Let me remind you, Joe, you wanted T. Higgins to get paid. You wanted that.
And I wanted to bring that up right when you're done.
And the only receiver duo that gets paid as handsomely as they do is the Eagles. But Howie knows how to push money down the road, how to spend more money, build a cohesive roster. The Bengals aren't that way. The Bengals could have used that money to surround him with better O-line pieces, better defensive pieces. You asked them not to do that. You went to battle for Trey, which I think you needed Trey Hendrickson. I think you should have paid him, even though he has been hurt. But you've been hurt. Joe Burrow, you have been hurt. A lot of these playoff runs where you haven't made it is because you haven't been there. This year, you weren't there. The year before last year, you weren't there. That's 2 out of 6 years, not including his rookie year where he tore his ACL and wasn't there. And a lot of these injuries are different injuries, bro. You're just injury prone.
Obviously, some of them is injury prone. I do wonder if he looks at it like that, like we're looking at it from him perspective. I wonder if he looks at it as
they're getting to me. They're killing
I'm not
me.
Protected. Like I was the most sacked quarterback to ever make a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and
as a sophomore
with this year, the turf toe. That's absolutely. He was getting blitzed by the Browns, and that's how that happened. So, yes, I do see that once again. But it's just amazing to me because Joe Burrow, I think me and you, he's been one of our favorite quarterbacks in the league, and we know how special he is at his peak. The only AFC quarterback to beat Mahomes, and I don't know. I just think at his peak, he's probably the second best.
No, he
behind
is.
Mahomes out of this era.
Second best.
So it's hard to be on a side opposing Joe Burrow because I've been on the side to where Joe Burrow, let's get him out of Cincy. Everyone who talks football says get him out of Cincy. That's why you let us talk. Joe going up to the mic, for me, it felt like almost excuse for them being so bad. Excuses for him getting injured. Almost like and this is why I think a lot of players, and I don't blame him for it because the media is so prevalent, so trying to get things from you, and he probably just folded in that moment. But absolutely, it was a bad moment for Joe Burrow getting behind the mic and saying those things because I'll talk about my quarterback real quick, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is in the most, what's the word I'll say? The most demonstrative, discriminatory press there is in Philly. And they a few weeks ago, they're talking about benching him for Tanner McKee, and Jalen Hurts never says anything. Dak Prescott never says anything to where they're bringing their teammates down, bringing their organization down. Joe Burrow hasn't yet. And for him to do that, I thought it was a step in the wrong direction. And that's where I agree with you. He needs to get out because if it's that bad, even though you didn't want to say directly it's that bad, then I think it's about that time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will have more episodes very soon, actually. It's Christmas break. Thank heavens Gav gets a little break. But, yeah. By the way, wish my guy luck this year for the remainder of the year. He's hooping right now, guys. I don't know if y'all ever want to tune in. Lees McCray basketball. Just look it up. Games are, Tuesdays and Saturdays, I think, a lot of the time on, 7 o'clock. So tune into that if you want to see a real hooper get buckets. But, thank you guys for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace out.